Who was the closer for the Philadelphia Phillies in 2022?
David Robertson.
What did the Phillies do in 2022?
They went to the World Series as a 6th seed.
Good. And how did David Robertson do in the playoffs?
Pretty good. Not great, but pretty good.
Okay, that's 3 checks in a row. All right. Who was the closer for the Nationals in 2019 when they won the World Series?
In 2019, I don't even remember now. The Nationals bullpen. Oh, it was was it Doolittle? I don't remember. Or was it Hudson?
I think it was Daniel Hudson.
It was Hudson. Okay.
Yeah.
They rotated around. They used starters out of the pen. I don't even remember. Their Nationals bullpen was so irrelevant for a while. You just forget all the bad ones.
Do you see my point? So David Robertson was the closer for the Mets in 2022, right? Right, for the Phillies in 2022. They went to the World Series. Who was the closer for the Mets in 2022?
Edwin Diaz.
Who got further?
The Phillies.
That's the point. So the point of people saying that the Mets are so screwed, their season's over, it's done, it just sounds so silly. That's number one. Number two, the Mets, to me, you don't need to trade for a reliever right now. You can do that in July.
Yeah.
Because they're all going to be up. I bet you Kenley Jansen's probably going to be available. I bet you, what's his name on Pittsburgh?
Oh, Bednar?
Bednar is going to be available. I liked the Kansas City closer last year, too.
Yeah, they tend to develop relievers pretty quickly.
Yeah, I forget who it was, though. Who was it? Do you remember who it was?
I don't remember his name offhand.
Yeah, so to me, listen, does it suck? 100%. There's nothing we could do about it. It was a fluky thing that happened. And I love the fans that say, they should cancel the World Baseball Classic. Now, I said I'm done with the World Baseball Classics. I don't want to watch it anymore this year, but,
Scott Barlow's the Royals guy.
What happened?
Scott Barlow is the name of the Royals guy.
Yeah. Scott Barlow was the closer. And Scott Barlow had a good year last year. He was on my fantasy team last year. So there's going to be relievers available. The thing of it is that a closer doesn't hinder, I think, what you do in your season, because the Mets have Robertson and Ottavino and Raley. They have guys that have done the job closing before who are veterans, especially David Robertson. David Robertson is a prime example. David Robertson was close to the Phillies, got picked up at the trade deadline, helped them get to the World Series.
Texas Tech was very close for the Royals last year. And no snug, the Mets. I will never encourage the Mets to bring in Jonathan Papelbon.
That's never happened in a million years. He gave up a home run to Kirk Newman-Weiss. You should never step foot ever. Okay? That's number one. The other situation, and he gave up a home run to Omir Santos.
Yeah.
That's another problem.
That's right.
Okay. The other thing of it is this. Now, I like I said, and I'll let Speedy get in here in a minute. It's interesting that everybody's panicking. They're panicking about what is going to happen with the Mets here because they lost Edwin Diaz. A closer, in my eyes, does not make or break a season. We saw it last year. David freaking Robertson was the closer for the Phillies. They went to the World Series. He had a good postseason. The Nationals won a World Series in 2019. They didn't even have a closer. They had a closer by committee. So the last couple of years, think about who the closers have been that have won a World Series. All right, you want to put Kenley Jansen won it in 2020. Jansen wasn't great.
Atlanta switched off many times during
Atlanta switched off a billion times. They didn't have a set closer.
Yeah.
And now this year they're going in it with, I believe, Raisel Iglesias.
Mm-hmm. Well, Iglesias they just traded for last year, but then their 2021...
He wasn't even the closer.
Yeah, 2021 season, they went from Smith, they went to Luke Jackson, and then I think in the playoffs they went to Minter because Minter was pitching so well. They just kept him in that spot. So
that's another team that didn't have a closer. And then Ryan Presley, who was one of the better closers in the game, very underrated in my opinion. So when you look at the last couple of years... Edwin Diaz is the best closer in baseball as a one. Josh Hader as a one. Josh Hader actually cost the Brewers in 2019. Although, actually, I shouldn't say that. The right fielder screwed up.
Gresham,
yeah. Yeah, So,
And then 3 years later, he decides to go off against the Mets.
Yeah, of course he did. That's how it works. But, Speedy, do you agree with my take on Diaz doesn't break the Mets season and this could be figured out later on?